Caleb Downs, Rueben Bain Jr., Peter Woods. What do they all have in common? They're in contention for the best prospect in the 2026 NFL Draft.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast. Cover your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. That's my guy, Keith Sanchez. He's a director of scouting with the Draft Network and 2019 national champion with those LSU Tigers. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and everyday shot, for being our everydayers. Guys, who is the best prospect right now today in the 2026 NFL Draft? We're going to talk about that. We have perfect prospect pairings, and then we're going to tell these NFL coaches we got the perfect prospect for you to coach up and get them where they need to be. But before we get into that, Crossover Thursday is presented by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Who is the best 2026 NFL draft prospect if the draft were today, Keith? I think I can say confidently neither one of us are picking the offensive player.
Yep.
It's to me, Keith, I'm going with the guy. He was my third overall prospect entering the season. I got to go to Miami, and that's Rueben Bain. The season Rueben Bain is having, man, he is dominating every game, getting it. He's living in the backfield. He's a strong run defender, like the pass rush ability from whether it's tight alignment, whether it's wide nine, twist and stunts. If he's lined up inside, like with his body type and frame and the athleticism he's displaying, he looks like, and just the mentality, right? Going back to that first week against Notre Dame, the man is sitting in class doodling on his notebook, saying things about Notre Dame. And I'm like, he doesn't even care about the class right now. Like, he's not even worried about that. He's worried about getting in the backfield and hitting Jeremiah Love and getting the CJ Carr. That's how I want my guys wired. I'm not saying ignore the education part, guys. That's all I'm saying. What I'm saying is I want my guys to be focused. You know what I mean? As we get closer and closer to the game, to go out there and dominate. I just think what he's doing right now, and they got a big game, I believe it's tomorrow night against Louisville and everything. Miller Moss, who's not the most athletic quarterback himself, yeah, you might be a sitting duck back there for Rueben Bain. You know what I mean? You better get that ball out quick. And for teams, you think about the Dallas Cowboys and some of these other teams that need pass rush, Rueben Bain is that guy right now in the 2026 NFL Draft. I don't know if there's a pass rusher outside of, on yesterday's part, I talked about David Bailey. I don't think David Bailey goes as high, right? Like, and Texas Tech is playing him out of position. He's an outside linebacker. They're playing him at like 4I. And I'm like, that's not what you need to be doing with David Bailey. So yeah. I got Rueben Bain, who can do pretty much everything and do it at a high level.
Yeah, I understand why you have Rueben Bain at 1, right? Just from everything he's able to do. And he's probably been one of the few prospects, DP, that, well, I'm not gonna say one of the few, but one of the few top names that has actually elevated his draft stock, right? Like he came in, I think he was widely regarded as maybe a top 10, top 15 prospect. And I think now he sits at, hey, could this guy battle for being the best overall prospect in the entire NFL draft? I'm gonna look at this, DP, and I'm gonna go with, because I was split between two defensive guys. I was split between Peter Woods. I was split between Caleb Downs. I'm going to go Peter Woods on this. And I know Clemson hasn't had the best season, right? And it kind of translates to the draft prospects in a sense, right? As far as people think, oh, because Clemson is bad, they have a bunch of bad players, right?
Correct.
And that's not necessarily the case, especially in the regards of Peter Woods. And I just look at this young man as just being physically dominant. I think what his upside could be falling in that same realm. And I think these guys are in the same draft. The Ndamukong Suhs, the Gerald McCoys, like they were in the, I believe that was the same draft. I think he
game changing DTs.
Yeah, and he has that in his bag, DP, to be a game changing defensive tackle. And also something that has been widely documented is just the usage, right? And that's not only just with Peter Woods, but that's been a lot of Clemson players coming out of Clemson defensively as of recent. It's like, why are you being used that way, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
let's streamline this process for you and make this game a lot simpler, because what you can do is be dominant. I look at Peter Woods, DP, and I think he has that game changing, like you said, ability at the defensive tackle position. And right now, he's sitting number one. And I'll say this is, I think it's interesting that we in this segment we brought up three names, and they've all been three defensive players. And I think this is starting to be a telltale of where this draft is probably going as far as where the talent actually is.
Yeah, I mean the talent. I think, and it's crazy because we coming into the season, we knew that this was a very strong defensive class, and there was a lot of projection baked in for some of the offensive guys. The defensive guys, especially the quarterbacks, the defensive guys are handling their business. And I wanted cautionary tale for the listeners. There was a lot of talk during rookie camp when not rookie camp, just the draft season. Remember just with man, he went to Cleveland. Why am I Mason Graham? And people were like, I don't know if he's a top 5 pick. He's like, I think he was at the combine. People were like, oh, wait a minute, he looks smaller than I thought he was. And
there was kind of body shaming, DP. They were
definitely body shaming. It was like, all right, man, we can't do this, man. It's not okay. But they were definitely body shaming. And then like he went to rookie camp, and of course you go from training for the draft to getting drafted, and now you're doing actual football things like being coached. And then he had a situation when he, let it out. He threw up a little bit. People are like, oh, he's out of shape. He's this, that, and the third. Now he's playing good football for the Cleveland Browns. And Myles Garrett was happy with the pick then, and I know he's happy with the pick now. You know what I mean? So cautionary tale: don't let what the season looks like paint your point of view on the player. Please watch the film and see what Peter Woods is doing, because just like was it Walter Nolan last year, Keith? Remember Ole Miss kept putting them at 0 and 1, and we're like, this don't make sense. Like he's a 3-tech. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let him play it, and then he gets to the Senior Bowl. He's trimmed down. He's like even more in the best shape that we've seen him, and he's dominating. And you're like, yo, like this. Unfortunately, he's got I think it's either a knee or a hamstring. He's got an injury right now, so he's been. He hasn't started the season yet for the Arizona Cardinals defense, but when he gets back in and is healthy, we expect him to make the plays necessary to warrant how high he was drafted, right? So, yeah, Peter Woods definitely a guy that, I think the narrative is weird with him and TJ Parker and that Clemson defense. I don't expect that narrative to shift until draft season when people just start watching film. Because right now people are watching live games, and yes, live games are cool to watch, but you're never going to get the answers you need watching the live game. Like, you got to actually sit and watch the player and see what's going on, Keith. And matter of fact, shout out to him, because the game against Boston College, he got 2 sacks in that game, right? Like, Cade Klubnik's played well back-to-back. Peter Woods is getting into the stat sheet. Maybe they're turning it around. I mean, you know what I mean? For Clemson, maybe. Keyword is maybe. But shout out to Peter Woods, man. I think him, Caleb Downs, Rueben Bain. Heck, I talked about Arvell Reese yesterday. Yeah, this defensive class is, this defensive class is loaded right now.
Yeah, I agree 100%, DP. This is where the value is, and I can see that being the top end of the draft, right? People going defense. And in specific, I think this is maybe the best linebacker class we've had since we've done the podcast, for sure, and maybe 10 years, right? Like they're about 4 linebackers, because everybody talks about Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese. I like Sonny Styles almost just as much, just in a different light. I look at Arvell as he reminds me somewhat of you remember Jalen Smith before he got injured, right? With Notre Dame and that type of style of player. And then Sonny Styles is that hybrid athletic 3-level player that reminds me of, why am I blanking on this young man's name? He got drafted to the Eagles and he went to Alabama last year. Jahad Campbell. He reminds me of Jahad Campbell, like a carbon copy. They both 6'3-ish, 230 pounds length,
athletic,
with the upside of being a pass rusher. Like, they remind me of each other so much. So I think Ohio State could have 2 linebackers going to top 20 in this draft.
Facts. Facts. 3 players in the top 20 with Caleb Downs.
Yep, 100%. Well, DP, let's keep this thing going and flowing. And coming up next, we are doing perfect pairing. I mean, we pick the draft prospect, we pick the team. We say, yes, this combination has to happen to save your franchise. Let's talk about that coming up next.
If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless service for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same number in contacts. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/lockedon NFL. That's mintmobile.com/lockedon NFL. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for the first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, you might as well get something for it. That's where Built comes in. Built is changing the game by turning your rent payments into real rewards you can actually use. When you pay rent through Built, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed toward hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and more. But Built isn't just about rent, it's about rewarding you around your neighborhood. I love that with Built, your rent finally works for you. You're earning points every month on something you already have to pay. So turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/lockedonnfl. That's joinbilt.com/lockedonnfl. Make sure to use that link so they know we sent you. Perfect prospect pairing. Keith, every time we do this, I go right to Tankathon and see who's in the top 10 this week. Because, it's changing week to week right now, Keith. And I go to number 8, right? I go to number 8. I know some Jets fans are probably like, man, DP, we're 0-6. You got to talk about us. In time. Right now, Keith, I go to number 8. And this is a team that has desperately needed to draft a quarterback. The Las Vegas Raiders. They're sitting at 2-4. I don't know what's going on with Geno Smith. Like, he's turning the ball over at such an alarming rate right now. It is crazy. I don't know what's going on over there. Ashton Genty's finding his footing and, running the ball better, the last couple of weeks. But the passing attack it's not looking good. And for me, Keith, I go to a guy that I believe we both love because I'm really high on him now. And that is Ty Simpson from Alabama. Keith, I think Ty Simpson, you put Ty Simpson in this offense, the way he plays, Keith, like breaking down this game, I just finished his report for Bleacher Report and everything. This dude is a professional quarterback, like from his drop back and the cadence of it to the accuracy, how he's always ready to throw at the top of his drops. Like he's climbing in the pocket vertically, but he's also athletic enough to get out of the pocket and hurt you with his legs, right? I think he did that against, Vanderbilt and stuff like that, a 15, 20-yard run and everything. And then he's mentally tough because even though in that game, no, it was Missouri. I'm sorry, Missouri last week. Even in that game, as Missouri's defense kept getting in the backfield and getting to him, they were hitting him. They got pressure on him. They sacked him a couple times, I think, and they just made him uncomfortable. 4th and 8, this dude just drops a dime on a corner, I think it was an over route to the sideline. And I'm like, yeah, that's a confident throw. You got to have confidence to make that throw, to believe you could fit that ball into that pocket the way your receiver it doesn't carry your receiver out of bounds on 4th and 8. Because if you don't convert, you're only up 3, I believe it was. I think it was up 20-17. You give the ball right back to Missouri, who's been having success getting down the field and finding their rhythm. You don't convert that, they get the ball in good yardage and they get to go downfield, kick a field goal to tie it, or put pressure on you and score a touchdown, and they go up 24-20. Both 4th downs. The 4th down on that same drive in the red zone, he lobs it over a free runner, touchdown too. I think it was a running back in the flats. Like the way he plays, I think putting them out there. Got Deontay Thornton, as a young receiver, Trey Tucker. We'll see what happens with Jacoby Myers, but Brock Bowers will eventually get back healthy with his knee. Ashton Genty. I think at 8, if you're able to get a Ty Simpson, that's a perfect situation for Pete Carroll's offense. You're going to run the ball, play action, under center stuff. You can do that with a guy like Ty Simpson, and he doesn't put the ball in harm's way.
Yeah, I have a question. Do you have any comps for Ty Simpson at this point?
I think I had one. I'm trying to remember. Let me look and see if because it was weird with him because he's like 6. Oh, I think Tony Romo was my comp. Tony Romo, because he's like 6'2", like 210. I think 210, maybe 215. Tony was a little bit heavier, but he's also much more athletic than Tony was. So that was my comp for him, just like a height, like build and good arm talent. He doesn't throw like Tony. He has more of a traditional over the shoulder type throwing motion, but it was Tony Romo. Cause I was like, I thought about Burrow a little bit, but I was like, Burrow's 6'4", 6'5". Like he's tall.
That's what's making this comp tough for me, is because Ty sits at that 6'1.5", 6'2" range, right? And I'm trying to find a quarterback because I've even like because I kind of put him in buckets, right? That he's not going to be in a bucket of like the generational talents, quote unquote, right? The Trevor Lawrences, Caleb Williams, and those type, Andrew Lucks. He's not going to be in that bucket, right? But he's also not going to be in a athletic freak bucket, right? Like where this guy is just, man, his testing charts are off the radar. So I started thinking of the guys of recent, right? The Drake Mays, the CJ Strouds. Like, does he fall in kind of that bucket of quarterback where these guys don't have necessarily dominant physical tools, but they check the box of B+ across the entire board, right? And so I was trying to see a comp if you had a comp for him. And I don't mind a Tony Romo comp at all. And that because I was literally just watching him too, and I was trying to like, man, who does this guy remind me of? All I know is that his high IQ and processing is off the charts, and that's what I love in quarterbacks. Like, can you think through the game and get the job done? I'm gonna go with DP. I know you said New York Jets. I was actually New York Jets. I'm gonna help y'all out. I'm gonna just go with the layup, right? Fernando Mendoza, the QB1 with the New York Jets, and I put him in my mock that I just dropped over at the Draft Network. And while I'm still processing through Fernando, right, being the number 1 quarterback and trying to see if that's how I feel at this very moment, the New York Jets, y'all have to do something, because the situation with Justin Fields and that whole entire regime, it's just not working. And unfortunately, and you tell me, right, but we both watch football and we understand the different offenses and things like that. And to me, placing Justin Fields in an offense similar to the same offense that Jared Goff runs, you're talking about 2 totally different players, and that's why the situation isn't working at all. And so they need a quarterback. They need a new face of the franchise. They need a new direction. They need somewhere to go. They need something to believe in. They're 0-6, and I believe they play the Bengals this week.
I think it's Carolina.
Is it Carolina? Okay. Yeah. I know it's a winnable game. Yeah. And if they don't win this game, then I don't know what to tell y'all. I don't have much optimism. So I'm gonna go Fernando Mendoza to the New York Jets at number 1 overall.
Yo, I think that is where it's trending right now. You know what I mean? And I think for because you talk, like you said, Justin Fields, like trying to force him to play the game that Jared Goff plays, the quick processing, get the ball out, different anticipation, like Fields still struggle. Like I thought week 1 when he played Pittsburgh, I was like, man, like this is if this was we're going to get all season from Fields, they don't need a quarterback. They're going to be fine, right? They can draft any other
next
position.
5 to 7 years.
Like legitimately, like if this is what you're going to give me for a full season, like he just to me, Keith, in week 1, Fields was playing free football. Like it just like he saw it. Okay, if it's not there, I moved. I extended the play. He played Justin Fields football. I ran when I needed to run. I made the throws I needed to make. Okay, it looked good. And then the shoe dropped, and it was like, yeah, no, this is not it. Like, and to go, who did they play last week? And he had like, I think for the most of the game, he had like 38 passing yards or something crazy like that.
Who did they play?
Was it the Broncos? Broncos.
It was
Oh,
the Broncos.
in
Yeah.
London.
Yeah.
I think
It was the early game. It was early.
Early
It was
game.
a way to wake up. It was
Yes,
a way to
that
wake
was
up.
definitely a way to wake up. What are we doing sending Bo Nix and Justin Fields over to London and try and expand the game of football in terms of a popularity situation? Like that, who told y'all that was a good idea, man? But nonetheless. But I think Fernando fits that. Like I think you comped him to Jared Goff. My report for him is live. My comp for him is Matt Ryan. And I was like, you get that ability to get the ball out quick. He's got the arm talent. You go back to that Iowa game, that far hash hole shot that they're 40 yards down the field between the corner and safety. But also, even the game against Oregon last week, he used his legs to pick up key first downs or to just keep them ahead of the chains. This offense needs a facelift bad. They need a facelift real bad. They need to make a change. And for those who are saying get rid of Aaron Glenn, absolutely not. Aaron Glenn inherited one of the worst teams in football, man. Like, you know what I mean? At some point, the franchise got to point the finger at themselves and say, you know what? I got to give you time. Colleges, like UNC said, we're not firing Bill Belichick, and they don't look great either. You know what I mean? So it's like, we understand it takes time. I think Fernando Mendoza to New York, that makes a lot of sense, Keith, especially right now.
Yep. Well, DP, go ahead and put your general manager with your suit and tie on, man, because we're about to do coach him up where we're going to pick the prospect, hand him over to the coaches. Say, listen, this young man has all the talent and upside to be a dominant player for us. Get the job done, right? That's what we're about to do. So coming up next, man, we are picking draft prospects that we think have upside to be dominant football players that's flying under the radar. Talk about that coming up next.
Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply just move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS top safety pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything, but from smooth handling to intuitive controls with all-wheel drive standard in every single crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and everyday shot for being our everydayers. It's time to coach them up. Keith, for me, I'm telling my head coach as the general manager after watching the film on this kid, cornerback Chandler Rivers from Duke. Just coach him up. Coach him up on some tackling, because that's the big thing. Like, tackling is his biggest thing. And because he doesn't have like really long arms. His wingspan isn't great. But man, can this dude cover. He's 5'10, 185 pounds. He covers man to man. He's really good in zone. He's got great zone eyes. I think when they played Cal a couple weeks ago, I think it was like two weeks ago, or I think 2 weeks ago, and they had Cal has that 5-star true freshman, Jaren Kiave Sagapulatele. That kid looks like the next great Hawaiian quarterback, like lefty. Like, dude he's got the goods, right? But he baited him by playing a high-low read. He acted like he was taking the flat route, forced him, kind of baited him into that deeper route and picked them off, right? Like that ability to play zone, squat, was this cover 2, cover 3. He's got great ball skills. He's super competitive. But it's just all about, to me, working on the tackling fundamentals. And I don't need you to be Jalen Ramsey as a tackler. I don't need you to be a all-world tackler, but just be functional enough that at least you hold the guy up to where we can rally to the ball, right? And we can get all 10 hats, or at least 9 hats, or whoever, to the football and make sure that we stop in the run game. Those bigger receivers, can you take the tree trunks, chop them at the tree trunks, right? Make them, kind of stall them out, things like that. But coverage-wise, this dude can cover, man. And he fits that kind of mold of the Trent McDuffies and stuff like that. Size-wise, he's a darn good cover corner. But you just got to work on some of the stuff of, hey, you don't have the longest arms. Here's how that you can mitigate some of the issues as a tackler.
Yeah, no, and he's a guy, DP, that it'll be interesting to see because we've seen the NFL go both ways, right? With these type of prospects where these 5'10", sub 5'11" corners, right, are usually the best cover guys. And then do they take them in the first roundish like the Chiefs did with Trent McDuffie, or do they fall a little bit to the second, third round? But ultimately, when you watch these type of football players, DP, you see the things that translate to like whether they take you first, second, or third round, you're going to be a starter, right? Like the value is going to be there for you because you're going to be a good football player at the end of the day. My coach him up. I'm gonna go with Texas A&M edge rusher Cassius Howell. Coach him up. I'll say this: if last year, and I just kind of went and rolled through some of the edge rushers, right? And this guy, in my opinion, has the upside to be a top 15, top 20 pick. I think he has that upside. And comparing him to Shamar Stewart last year, I think if Shamar Stewart was a top 20 pick, this young man has all of the ability to be a top 20 pick also.
Yeah.
Just he just has to learn just different counters and tracks to get to the quarterback. But the upside is there for him. Now, do I love that and feel like, hey, well, if that's the case, top 5, right? No, I don't love that because I usually like my college guys like, listen, you already know how to get home, right? But you buy into because he has the physical profile sitting there, 6'3", 6'4", 255 pounds. You see the power in his hands. You see he can collapse the pocket, speed the power in his bull rush, things like that. I'm excited about what he could be. Now it's like, hey, turn him over to the coach. Let's develop this young man.
Listen, Cassius House is having a great season right now. 2 games with 3 sacks each. Like when he gets on the heater, like, and you leave him one-on-one, like he's getting back there. When you are able to stop the run, tell him pin his ears back, he's been able to get back there all season long. And at the end of the day, Keith, no, it's still yes, teams are running the ball, but it's still a path. You got to get to the quarterback at the end of the day, right? Like you can play great run defense, but on 3rd and 10, if you don't get home, you know what I mean? Like they're going to connect with their receivers. That just is what it is, right? The corners and safeties can't cover 4, 5, 6 seconds. You got to get to the quarterback. And to me, what do I always say? I want for a first round edge rusher, I typically want a guy that can be my bucket getter. That 4th quarter, I need that sack. Like I want, as a defensive coordinator, when we're like, it's a timeout, it's 3rd and 10, the game's on the line. I've watched Von Miller ice games, right? We've watched Von Miller ice game. We've seen Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, JJ Watt. We've seen the greatest of guys ice the game. Cassius Howell has the making of a guy that I can go as a defensive coordinator and say, hey, I'm isolating you. I'm giving you that wide 9. I need you to get back there. I need you to ice this in this game on this next snap. And not only because I think there's upside for him, not just as a guy to get in the backfield, but that guy's a backside or the blind side rusher to then also develop that knack of not just sacking the quarterback, but knocking the ball out. You know what I mean? How many times we've seen Von Miller, like, I can attack your body, but I see the ball just sitting here. Let me swipe your hand. And I still get credit for the sack, but I get credit for the fumble too. And we get to it's a trifecta.
Yeah, the trifecta. That's what I was about to say. The strip, sack, fumble.
That's it. Like I know. I mean, defensive players, because you can't really hit the quarterbacks. It's always appealing. You get that clean shot. Like, I'm gonna take his head off. Like, I get it. I fully understand. But understand when he raised that arm back and he's like, man, that ball is just free. It's free for me. Like, go get it. Like, that's your opportunity. I think Cassius Howell has that type of upside, Keith. I think he could be a guy that we look at like a Nick Benito and stuff like that. Those guys on 3rd downs, speed, dip and bend, all of that, but also has speed to power to where your quarterback, you have to tell your quarterback all day in practice that week, knowing, watch out for him. Keep 2 hands on the ball. Don't get lazy with it in the pocket, because you never know when he comes around that edge that he might be raking at the ball.
Yep, 100%. With DP, that wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. Every listen is greatly appreciated here over at Locked On NFL Draft. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. On tomorrow's show, guys, we have week 8. I think it's week 8 of college football this week. Man, it's flying by.
We rolling.
We rolling. We in full swing now. So it's like week 8 of college football. We got some big time matchups, especially for some quarterbacks in Trinidad Chambers. Yeah, brother, you got to make a statement against that Georgia defense. So we'll talk about that on tomorrow's show. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.